Yo, 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 welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. And before we get to our guest today, we have a big shout out for Living Sisu. Living Sisu is a platform and app that wants to give you all the tools to have success in your sport. Their main objective is to activate your lifestyle. It's for active people. Enjoy discounts at companies like Bchl, 30% off, Body Logics, the Goalie Guild, all his books are discounted. Roan, Lululemon for men, 20% off. Online stretching programs with Eccentrics, 1 full month free. They got super silent massage guns, 20% off those. And it's a great quality. It's way less expensive than a Theragun, and it's great quality. So there's so many more discounts that you guys will need to just become a member to see. So they want to provide you with anything you need for success. So come join the community. I'm a part of it. A bunch of other athletes are a part of it. So it's free to join. It takes 20 seconds to get exclusive offers to your sport, and it's definitely worth it. So do us a huge favor and go sign up for Living Sisu's membership. It's free, takes 20 seconds. So go do it, and we'll see you there. Living Sisu is a great company. We know one of the co-founders, Zach Bchl. He's a great guy. He's the co-founder. He does a lot of live streams on Instagram at Living Sisu, and with a bunch of elite athletes, and you learn a lot from like the athletes' determination, their resiliency, everything to what made them become successful. So it's been a great experience so far. So go on. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. So go sign up. Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and in today's episode, we are joined by a very special guest, current professional hockey player, Matt Ustaske. I've gotten to know Matt over the past month training with him, and I can say that he is one of the hardest workers I've had the pleasure of meeting. Matt most recently played for the Pansacola Ice Flyers in the SPHL. He's in his third year pro, playing in the SPHL, ECHL, and getting a stint in the AHL with the Manitoba Moose, along with playing junior hockey in the Bchl and also playing NCAA Division I hockey at the University of Wisconsin. So this is going to be a fun episode. So welcome to the show, Matt Ustaske.
Thanks for having me, Jack. I'm excited to be here. So
yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. So how are you? Like, we've been training together for the past month. So like, how have you been outside of training, with training, like everything around there?
yeah, it's definitely been a weird year for sure. I mean, there's just not a lot. I mean, hockey's going on, but there's a lot of minor leagues that aren't playing right now. So there's a lot of guys that are out of jobs right now, just kind of waiting for a call to get the call and go somewhere and play. So this year has just been definitely a mental test and obviously a physical test too, to just kind of stay in shape and be ready all the time. So just kind of hoping for that call. Like, I'm a free agent right now and just waiting for a minor league team to give me the go if they want to bring me in for some games or practice for. I know the year is almost closing up here with playoffs coming around for a lot of teams, and everything revolves around the NHL. So that's just kind of been the year. It's been really weird with the COVID and everything. So a lot of good tests though, and hopefully come out stronger, and next year everything gets back to normal and everybody's playing in the right leagues.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like, how was your mentality coming in? Like, especially like you played with Pensacola for a little bit, and you've been a free agent ever since. Like, how tough is it mentally to just stay in shape and just go to the rink every day when you know you don't have a team to play on?
For me, I actually find it pretty easy because I love the work. Like, I treat, obviously it is a job, but you wouldn't think like playing a sport is a job, but being a professional athlete, like that's how I treat it every day. I look to get better in some aspect of my life and as an athlete every single day, whether that's showing up to the rink and putting in a good session there, or getting stronger in the weight room, working out my body in that sense, or most recently, like just with all the free time now and not playing any games, I've taken really an interest and a liking into more of like nutrition and sleep and stuff, and just kind of really looking into all that stuff, like how it's going to help me and help me become a better athlete. So really taken an appreciation for cooking my own meals more. Not that I didn't before, but just really utilizing all my aspects and attributes as an athlete and as a person.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. That's awesome stuff right there. So, because nutrition, sleep, all that's super important as a high performing athlete like yourself. So, like, what, how many hours of sleep do you plan to sleep a night, and like, what do you do for like cooking your own meals to like cook it to the bees to be healthy?
I think to start with sleep, it's pretty hard because during the summer, I always feel like I get better sleep because I can get on a schedule, and that being just revolving around training on the ice or training in the weight room, whatever time of day that is. I can usually set a pretty good schedule at night, wake up at the same time every day. But then during the season, that obviously gets thrown into a blender with travel and game times and game nights. Like usually during the summer, I'm going to bed around like 9, 10 o'clock, and I'm waking up at 6, 7 a.m. for training or whatever. But then during the season, you're playing games, so you're not getting to bed until midnight, 1 a.m. And then on top of that, if you're playing road games or whatever, you're not getting back on the bus until like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. sometimes. So it's just kind of finding that right rhythm and doing what works for you best and kind of seeing how you feel every day. And then in terms of food, I've just been really looking into like what kind of foods make me feel the best on certain days. Like, oh, maybe this food's like a little bit heavier, so I probably shouldn't have that like the day before a game, or if I got a lot of practice or working out to do the day before. So really just trying to learn as much about my body and my health with all this time that I have, that I figured it'd be a good thing, and hopefully all those little things just add up over time.
Yeah, that's great stuff. And just like everything like of that adds up. Like you need to be high performing at every skate, every practice, every game. So you need to treat your body right and treat your body to whatever it needs to recover, like to help you perform at that best level.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I want to get into a little bit of like your junior and prep days a little bit here. So you grew up in Glenview, Illinois. It's like what was growing up in the Chicagoland area for you?
It was pretty unique, I'd say, compared to now. It's always funny to look back because after the Blackhawks won those three cups within the decade there, the hockey in this North Shore Chicago area just is absolutely booming now. It's not like it wasn't popular back then. There were still four AAA teams and a bunch of AA, but I figured nowadays, like just looking around and seeing all the youth programs and how many more kids are playing hockey because of that, I think that's what the reason is. But just the growth of the game in this area is unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. It's grown a huge amount since you were a kid, since I was a kid going up in youth hockey. So it's grown a ton. So like during your youth days going into high school, you played prep hockey at Lake Forest Academy from 2008 to 2012. So like what was your experience playing prep hockey and your experience at LFA?
I loved it there. I still go back there and watch their games and skate on that ice sometimes and train in that weight room too. Just being an alumni from there is just it's a special kind of feeling. It's a special connection you have with a lot of other people around the world because it's such a diverse prep school. And even with hockey, just being paired with the academics prepared me so much for college. I love that place. I was so grateful that I got to go there and play there, and it was kind of the real test for me, kind of the beginning of my whole career to where I am today. Just kind of was able to grow each year I was there and move on to junior hockey after that.
Yeah, so like what made you go the prep school route compared to like the public high school route?
My parents were always really preaching on academics, and the academics at LFA are obviously very prestigious, and they set you up very well for college. I think even taking those 2 years off to play junior hockey after LFA before I went to Wisconsin, uh, it was such a smooth transition for me. Like I knew how to do everything. I knew how to write papers. I knew how to like all this academics that other kids didn't have just being in the public school system. I think just being in the smaller classrooms at LFA, like the smaller grades, I think there's only like 80 kids in my grade. So times that by 4, that's less than 400 in the whole school. So that's just the kind of academic attention you got, and then paired that with hockey, it just seemed like it was a seamless fit.
Yeah, a lot of benefits there, it seemed like, and just academics is super important. So getting the most help, the best help you can get, like throughout that time, must have been great for the future and going into college, like you said.
Yeah.
So then going into juniors a little bit here, you played 2 years in the BCHL for the Langley Rivermen. So like, what was the process like to find a team in the BCHL and give yourself the best opportunity moving forward in your hockey career?
Uh, for me, I don't know if I'd say if it was lucky or if it was just like the right place, right time, just to kind of set me up for my junior career. But um, I went to a global sports showcase, which is in Chicago. It was in Darien, and they have them in a few locations. They have one throughout the year during the time in Vegas. They have one in Vancouver as well, which is where they're based, but they do have the camp in Chicago too. So that's where I was saw by. That was kind of my first real exposure to a lot of colleges and to a lot of junior teams. And the one junior team, the Langley Rivermen, who just so happened to be the owners of the camp and they operated as well. They really liked me. They liked my game there, and they wanted to bring me out to Langley after the camp for that upcoming year, and just worked out really well. They gave me a lot of opportunities, and I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That path is incredible. Like you were just at a at a showcase in Darien, and then next thing you know, you find yourself in a BCHL team. So like, what was that transition like going from prep hockey to playing in the BCHL in your first year of juniors?
It was definitely a different jump because you're starting to get into junior hockey, which is a pretty elite level. Like even if you think about it, just coming from youth hockey, how the pie keeps getting smaller and smaller. So the players are better, they're bigger, they're faster, and I started playing when I was 17. So you're playing against a range from 17 to 20. So that's kind of a big jump for some guys, and I think I transitioned pretty well. I think it was a really good move for me to go there. And my first year was kind of like more of a transition year. Got my feet wet, really got used to the league, and was able to produce and score some goals. And then the second year, I came back with just a dominant mentality and really put up some numbers and did good for myself.
Yeah, so like, what were some of the struggles that you faced during your first year of juniors? Like that trend, maybe that transition, like just you did good your first year, but like everyone faces some type of struggle. So like, what was your biggest struggle that you had to learn from?
I think for me individually, I was still like growing into my body more and really needed to put on some more weight. And if I had the aspirations to play college hockey, which I did, I just had to really fill out my body, really kind of put my all around game together, which would lead to a lot of college interest. And it did throughout the first 2 years. I had a lot of colleges contacting me, coming and offering scholarships. So that whole process was really cool just to kind of see and go on visits everywhere and make that decision ultimately to go to Wisconsin. But just kind of that transition phase from prep to junior was really for me to fill out my body and start really putting my whole game together.
Yeah, so like, what would you do to help fill yourself out? Would you just keep constantly lifting weights and eating healthy? Like, what would you do to help yourself get there, especially as a late bloomer?
Yeah, for me it was kind of weird going back to the LFA days. I was only 5'8" as a freshman there, so each year, the next year, sophomore year, I'm 6'2". The year after that, I'm 6'4". The year after that, I'm 6'6". So I'm changing my skate size and my stick length every single year. So just really uncoordinated and kind of really trying to put my whole game together. The nice thing was that I kept the skill the whole time. So I had the really good hands and the good shot, no matter what size I was. It was just really putting that like coordination and my total size package together.
Yeah, at least you still had the skill, and you didn't have to get a new skill for that. So that's at least good that you're able to keep that.
Yeah. So I had that muscle memory at least.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, did you have any big like expectations going into juniors, or were you just like go with the flow your first year and see where it takes you?
Yeah, it was, the goal, even since I was a little kid, was always to play college hockey. So um, that was my goal, was to get a scholarship. I had high aspirations for myself. I think that's where I really started to develop that work ethic and that work mentality. That's something that I love to do even every day today in the present. So I think it was cool for me to really develop that and kind of see myself and kind of slowly start turning into a pro then.
Yeah, so going into your second year, you put up a lot of points. You had like 29 goals and 20 assists, so 49 points in 54 games. Like, what helped you become so dominant in the game, especially your second year?
I think it was just being more comfortable in the league and knowing what to expect on a night to night basis. And that's where I really started to treat hockey as like a job, just showing up and preparing and trying to play my best every single day. And it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely did do that. So like what kept you motivated and healthy during the time that were playing every game? Like you have to take care of your body and everything. So like what would you do to help yourself recover?
It's just more of like a learning process. I think just doing a lot of stretching, a lot of working out with the weights in the gym, and a lot of mobility, stuff like that. And at that point, like looking back, I really didn't know that much. I worked with a trainer in the summers throughout, and they kind of gave me some stuff to do and kind of stretches and things to make me feel good. But ultimately, it's a lot of self experimentation with yourself and what makes you feel good on a day to day and night to night basis.
Yeah, for sure. So like you said, you're a hard worker. You develop that work ethic, I guess you could say. And just like how important is that for you, especially like as you look back at yourself now from like juniors to college and now into the pros, like how important was that, and how like what did you do to help develop that, or what did it just come just like because you wanted to play college hockey and then you wanted to go on to pro?
Yeah, I think that just it kind of developed on its own. I think the want to earn a scholarship to go somewhere and then to play pro after that is just to have those aspirations whenever they develop, whenever how young or old you are. And that's just something that stuck with me. I figured it'd be something that I could separate myself from other guys with, and it obviously worked out. I was able to earn a scholarship and then even get drafted within the same year to the NHL. So that was pretty cool to see, like all the work I did up leading up to that point pay off and then kind of continue on that road from there.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff right there. It's like going into like juniors a little bit here still. Like, what was some of your favorite junior hockey memories that you keep to this day?
It was a really cool experience because got to go all the way out to Vancouver. So it was very scenic and got to do a lot of things, got to live in Canada. Like I loved my Bchl family. Like they were awesome. It's a completely different way of life up there. I think in Canada, the people are different, the lifestyle, like just all of it kind of adds up, and it's something that I never experienced before, just moving away from home even for the first time. Because when I went to LFA, I was a day student and lived at home, so just kind of living in a billet house was just the whole experience in itself was pretty cool.
Yeah, so like, what was that experience like living with a billet family? Because you always hear these horror stories about them, but it seems like you had a really good experience with this. Like, what was it like living with a new family for the first time and just having to adjust to that?
Yeah, I don't think I was ever really too hesitant the first few weeks, but it's just kind of getting to know like some strangers who are essentially just appointed to take care of you. And I know I heard some horror stories going in before as well, but my experience was the complete opposite. It was my billet mom, Erin, was like a second mother to me. She would do anything. So it was awesome. Like the meals that she would cook up for us and just the way we would have fun like every night. It's something I think a lot of kids that go right to college that play hockey don't really experience. I think playing junior hockey and living in a billet family away from home is something unique that a lot of other kids in other sports don't even get to do. I think hockey is one of those few that you can live and experience for yourself if you play hockey.
Yeah, that's awesome there that you didn't have to experience any of the horror stories, but like you had a good experience. So that's great. So then going into college a little bit here. So after college, after juniors, you decided to play Division I college hockey at University of Wisconsin. So like what went into picking Wisconsin to be your school and play college hockey?
I had a few options, like looking back, just with a few scholarships on the table when I was playing junior, and I knew, like in the back of my mind, and since I was a little kid, I just always wanted to go to Wisconsin. It really seemed like a long shot when I was at LFA, just because I knew of how historic the program was and how good they were. So that was kind of a good motivator for me to look forward to. And then when it started to really happen and they did offer me a scholarship, just comparing so many colleges and what's the right fit, like what's good academically, what's good for hockey, what's the best for my career. I had a lot of offers. I had to nail it down to like between 5 and 10. I went on a few visits to a bunch of different schools, and when I went to Wisconsin, I visited the school. I was like, I loved it. I knew right away. Like, I turned right to my parents when we were leaving. I was like, yep, this is it. Like, I'm going here. There's no need to set up any more visits anywhere else. Like, this is it for me. I've always wanted to be a Badger. So it was an easy decision when they offered.
Yeah, that's sick. So like what was the transition going from the BCHL to a fantastic Division I program in Wisconsin?
I think the BCHL itself is a very good league. I think it's neck and neck with the USHL. So there's a lot of kids that transition even from the NAHL as well. But obviously everyone's older, they're bigger, they're stronger, faster in college. So that's something you got to be prepared for your first year. And just the college hockey aspect itself is just, there's so many different variables. Like you got your academics, you got the social life, you got athletics. There's a lot of things you got to balance as a student athlete, and for some that's pretty hard. But I think I did pretty well my first year, kind of transitioning into being a student again, and it worked out pretty well for me.
Yeah, so like what was that balance? Like you said it was pretty easy for you. So like you got all the social aspect, the schooling, the sports, like how would you like balance it all out and have time for it to do everything?
Yeah, that's kind of the right word, is just time management, right? So for me, I just being completely honest, like hockey was just the number one priority, right? So I just kind of revolve everything around that. And for the academics, like for me, and this is what I tell everybody, I was like, I just got the work done. It wasn't hard, it wasn't easy. I just wanted to make sure, like, hey, if I get the schoolwork done, then I have more time to focus on hockey. So just get it out of the way, pass all my classes, do well, the best I can, and then the social life at Wisconsin is just unbelievable. Like the amount of, I mean, it's known as like a party school, and all gets all that aspects to it, but just so many different things you can do on any given night. There's just something always going on, whether you want to go out to eat, you go to a football game. Like um, we didn't really get to go to too many parties because we were obviously serious athletes, and
Yeah.
there was a time for that. Obviously, I really enjoyed a lot of times like that with my experience, but hockey was usually every weekend, so we ended up just missing out on a lot of stuff, even being on the road too. But just really enjoying like the whole experience of being a college student was great, paired with athletics and academics.
Yeah, for sure. And just like as a student athlete myself, like if you get the work done, like everything becomes a lot easier. And like once you get like the homework done early, like more time to focus on your sport, which is great. And like that's what you want to do because you
Yeah.
as academics is obviously important, but like you also like go to school to play a sport and you want to play. So you just gotta find that time management skills, like you said, and just separate both in categories and just get the work done pretty much.
Yeah.
So then going into your first year a little bit here, you played in 24 games, netting 4 goals and 4 assists. So did you find that it was a little bit easier to take this step up, finding the back of the net often, especially since the BCHL is kind of at the same level as the USHL?
Yeah, I would say college hockey in general is more systematic, and um, we played in the Big Ten, which is arguably one of, if not the best divisions in the whole country. So you're going against the best players in college hockey in the world every weekend. So um, it's just really systematic. Like there's a lot of video film, there's a lot of practice and prep time you have throughout the week, and there's only 2 games every weekend compared to when you're playing junior hockey. I played probably close to double that in comparison to a college season. So there's a lot more practice time, a lot more prep in that sense, and you got to be ready for that transition and your opportunities to win games every weekend.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, what are some of the biggest takeaways that you had to learn your first year if you're going to keep developing at a good rate?
I think it was a combination just of offensive and my defensive game. I think my goal all around, even my first year in college, was just always keep pushing and get better at something every year that's gonna help me transition into pro better, which I always had in the back of my mind, even though I was playing college and that was the goal, was to win a championship there. But just improving on myself, improving whatever skills or whatever mental aspects I needed to do every year to get better.
Yeah, so like what was it like getting that first college goal, especially like you got four goals that year. So like what was it like in that first one?
It was pretty cool. We were it was in our second game of the season of my freshman year. We were in Alaska playing against Anchorage, and um, just even to put that Wisconsin sweater on the first game was a pretty cool experience, having grown up watching them and going to games when I was a little kid. So and then to get that first goal was pretty unique experience, and um, that's just one aspect. And then when you get your first goal at home, it's even more of a cool experience, because then you get to experience like the student section and the rowdy crowd and kind of just everything that comes with being a Badger and playing games at the Kohl Center. So all of that added up made it worth it when I made the decision to go there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like how sick was it playing in Alaska? Because I've heard nothing but like good things about playing in Alaska and like the views, the hockey, like everything's like pretty sick.
Yeah, it was a good way to start off our season that year. We played Fairbanks, and then we played Anchorage the next night. So just kind of a place that I probably would have never gone to or visited in my life if I didn't play hockey. So that's just one of those things where it's like, oh, I got to visit Alaska and play hockey, and it was a great experience.
Yeah, that's sick. I definitely wish I could go to Alaska and just play some hockey there. So
Yeah.
like the next 3 years at Wisconsin, you played in 25 games your sophomore year, 27 games your junior year, and 24 games your senior year. So like how important was it for you to always be there for your teammates and help your team grow and see the team grow every single year that you've been there?
Yeah, we definitely had some struggles, and if you look at our record, my first 2 years, we didn't win very many games. So just kind of had to do whatever I did, like just to get better. Like I said, every year, whatever skill or mental aspect I needed to improve on. And my junior year, we actually had a pretty good team. That was my best year that we were able to put together. We ended up losing the Big Ten championship in double overtime. That was the closest I got to any trophy in college. We never made the tournament my 4 years, which was disappointing. I think that's something you really look forward to as a college hockey player, playing in that top 16 and really striving and working towards a national championship. But we came pretty close that year. And I think using college, you don't play as many games as junior or pro. So those practices every week, like you said, being there for your teammates, like that's where you really get better. That's where I was able to really develop and put together a lot of stuff for my game, even. And then you kind of utilize that and show it during the games. But the practices were very important in college.
Yeah, so like you said, your first 2 years, you guys weren't getting as many wins as you guys hoped. So like how difficult were those first 2 years and just having to like push over the boundaries to help yourself get better, especially going into your junior year?
Everything gets worse and gets magnified when you're losing games. When you're winning, it's a lot more flow and a lot more fun. So just taking the best out of every situation. And even if we were losing games, there's just so many other aspects about being a student athlete that you got to take care of as well, like your academics, and then trying to enjoy the social life of being a college student, especially at a school like Wisconsin. Like, I don't know how you couldn't enjoy it, and I had a great time there.
Yeah, for sure. So college hockey is most known for the fan sections, like you said earlier. So like how much fun was it playing in front of the fan sections, and how much of a difference were they like shifting the momentum of the game when you're either playing at home or even playing away games?
Oh yeah, they definitely make a difference just in terms of like the loudness and the atmosphere of the game. I think at Wisconsin they call them the crease creatures. They're one of the best in the nation. I think it's especially when we would play a big rival like Minnesota. It's just three tiers, like 100 level, 200, 300 level, full of students just chanting, yelling the civ after we score a goal. And just kind of, I don't even know how to describe that feeling of just like scoring a goal at home and then just being able to like jump into the glass, and you have all these students just yelling and screaming with you. You're looking at them and just celebrating, essentially just being a Wisconsin Badger. Like that's the connection you share with them. And when we would go on the road, we would always get heckled by other fan bases, like in Minnesota or Michigan. They had a couple really good student sections that would make some funny posters of us and do like some research and find out some dirt on us. So that stuff, that's the kind of stuff you sign up for when you choose to play college hockey over major junior, and you get some good laughs during warm-ups looking at some of those posters and signs.
Were you ever a part of the posters?
Oh yeah, they would look up your Instagram or your Twitter, your Facebook, and find some pretty funny like prom photos or anything that was put up from high school. So they would actually be pretty clever with a few of them. It was a good chuckle during warmups.
Those are always the best when you're just looking at it and you just laugh because it's so comical, and just those fan sections bring out everything in the game, and it's just unreal seeing like and like feeling that energy like of playing in front of a fan section.
Oh yeah.
So then like going into your last year of college hockey, so like what was that last year of junior hockey or college hockey like, and just having to just thinking that this is the end of college hockey and that you're going to move on to playing pro?
Yeah, you really want to win a national championship. That's the goal. And you see in the past from Wisconsin, they have 6 national championships. So it's something you see on the wall every single day and something you want to be a part of in your time there. And that's the goal that you work towards every year. And that's a good team goal to have. And for me individually, I knew it was my last year. So I knew that I was going to play pro hockey after college and didn't try and think about it too much, but knew that I needed to really brush up and put my whole game together and leave college as a pro. And I think I did that once I got the opportunity to play pro. But just working towards that goal and the trophy of winning a national championship is a bond that you share with your teammates. But just being a Badger in itself, just being and having the opportunity to play there on a scholarship for all 4 years was just something you can't really picture or dream of until you're really living it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Something you'll never forget in your lifetime. So that's a great memory to have.
Yeah.
So like, what were some of your favorite college hockey memories from your time at Wisconsin?
Oh man, I think just being at Wisconsin, you're just exposed to so many different like opportunities and things you wouldn't normally do. I think just like going to the football games and just being a student sometimes, just not just being an athlete, and getting to experience all that stuff, like the social life on campus. Like there's a huge lake, and there's two of them that are between the campus. So we would spend our summers there, taking summer school, and really just get to enjoy our time there, like all year round, whether it was playing during the winter, playing games, or whether it was training and doing the weight training in the summer school in the summertime. It was just an all around like great place to be for the whole year.
Yeah, that's awesome. Some great memories for sure.
Yeah.
So then after your senior year of college, you decided to go pro, where you found yourself signing with the Jacksonville Icemen of the ECHL. So like, what was that first taste of pro hockey like for you?
It was good. Being drafted by Winnipeg, it was good to stay in their system and play some games for Jacksonville. And I think for me personally, it was really good to go right into pro after college, just to get those games in and really show what I can do and how I can make an impact right away. And it was really fun. Like I didn't think about it too much. I knew the pressure of playing pro, but I had a lot of fun with it and really enjoyed my time there right after college.
Yeah, so like, what was that adjustment like coming straight out of one of the best, if not the best conference in D1, and then going right into the coast?
I think it was a really good transition for me. For whatever reason, I don't know if the college game just didn't really fit me. I think it was more like systematic and kind of structured, whereas pro is obviously pretty systematic and structured, but it's just has a different feel to it. There's a lot more aspects to it. Like in college, you're playing with guys who are 18 to 24, and then you step right into pro, and you got guys from 18 to 40 essentially. So guys got coming from a wide range of variety, from college, major, junior, Europe. Like it's just a whole mix of different players that you play with. And I think the pro game really suits me and shows that I've had some success so far.
Yeah, for sure. So you got to play in 14 games right out of college in Jacksonville. You had 5 goals and 2 assists. So like, what were the emotions when you got to play in your first pro game and then get that first pro goal?
I was a little bit nervous kind of going in, and you don't really ever know what to expect with pro. And you just kind of you learn, you pick up some things right away. And once you get that first shift under your belt, then you kind of know at any level, whether for me it was the ECHL, AHL, or NHL, you get that first shift under your belt, and you kind of just see like, all right, like I could play at this level. Like now it's time to go to work and show what I can do.
Yeah, for sure. That's just awesome right there. And just, do you remember getting your first pro goal and like how it happened?
Yeah, we were with Jacksonville, and we were playing on the road in South Carolina. It was a power play goal. My goal, or my job on the power play, is usually to stand in front of the net and tip pucks and screen the goalie and get retrievals for the skill guys on the wall and up top. So I really used my size, and the defenseman took a shot, deflected it on net, turned around, and just banged home the rebound. And great feeling to kind of get that first pro goal. I think it was in my third or fourth game with Jacksonville, so got it pretty early on, and I was happy to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's not easy for a goaltender getting a 6'6" guy in front. I would know that because you're always screening me, and it's not fun. So I can't imagine a 6'6" guy standing in front of that, waiting for that tip, and then getting that rebound home and batting it in.
Yeah, that's my job usually. Something I have over a lot of players is the combination of the size and the height. So I got to use that to my advantage every game.
Yeah, exactly. So then, while you were in Jacksonville, you also got loaned out to Manitoba in the AHL, where you played one game for them. So, like, what was that cup of coffee experience like in Manitoba?
It was good. I really enjoyed my time up there. It's kind of just a continuation of transitioning into pro and learning more. And I got to stay with them for their whole Calder Cup run that year and that spring. So just whether it was learning something in practice or playing in that one game, I think just being up there and being around, not only being with Manitoba, but being around the Winnipeg Jets as well, and because they share the same facility and the same city. So it was just good to be like around all that, and was just a great learning experience for my technically first year pro.
Yeah, so like, what was that experience like, and just the experience that you learned from the guys from the Manitoba Moose guys, the Winnipeg Jets? Like, what were some of the things that you took from that experience of just being a black ace for Manitoba?
Yeah, it was a lot of practice time and a lot more watching than playing, but you do benefit from watching and developing a lot. So uh, just watching those guys, watching the older guys, seeing how they prepare on a day-to-day basis, like that's really how you learn how to be a pro, is just watching those veterans and seeing what they bring to the table every night. And then when I get my opportunity, I could show what I can do. So just being around the two teams and watching a lot of hockey, it did me well and served me.
Yeah, that's great stuff right there. So then the next season, you spent time in the ECHL with the Jacksonville Icemen again. It's like, what was that first like official pro year like, and just learning from the other guys and just the reality of pro hockey?
Yeah, that my first official pro year actually was kind of the downside. I was doing a lot more watching than playing because I was dealing with a lot of injuries that year, which kind of tested me mentally. And I was just so excited to play my first like full pro year. And now you're out of college, like you're getting paid to play hockey, and I couldn't do it because I was just battling a few injuries that year. But I just kind of took the positive out of everything. I was able to watch a lot of games, watch how some teams play, and just again watching like how other guys prepare and how they be pros. And then once I was able to get healthy and play again, I was able to utilize some of those things I learned.
Yeah, so like, what was your mindset like during this time? Like, you had a few injuries, you weren't seeing playing time. Like, what would you do to help yourself stay positive, especially in a time like that when everything's not going your way? Like, what would you do to help flip that switch and just stay positive throughout everything that's happening?
It's definitely a mental test when you miss that much time. Essentially missed like the whole season. I was only able to play a few games. So that was hard for me just to kind of come to terms with in reality. If you want to get healthy and move on and play later on in your career. So just taking the positive out of everything, whether it was watching or studying or doing anything in life, just take the positive out of it and kind of move forward, and never really dwell and be too negative on yourself or your team.
Yeah, so like, what would you look for when you're like watching guys play? Like, what are you watching them do, like, to help better to understand what they're doing, then try to put that into your game as well?
I would just kind of watch like the whatever system we were playing and how guys utilize and how they fit in each play, and obviously watching the opposing teams as well, kind of the players, what they do, and how guys are so unique, and everybody has a different skill set. Everybody has a different role on each team. So um, that for me is just the same thing. You got to find your own role on the team. You got to find out how you can help the team win and how you can help yourself perform and do well each night.
Exactly. I really like that mindset that you had there. So then going into last season a little bit here, you were loaned and moved out to different places in the ECHL and the SPHL. So like, what was that last year like when you found yourself playing for three different coast teams with the Norfolk Admirals, Idaho Steelheads, and the Rapid City Rush, and then one SP team with the Pensacola Ice Flyers?
Yeah, I don't think it was definitely not ideal to kind of bounce around that much. For whatever reason, things happen, you move around teams, and just trying to find the right fit, playing for a team where you can go in and have success, and not just short-term success, but long-term too. So it would have been ideal to stick with one team the whole year, but that's just kind of how it turned out. And just kind of moved on and did my best at each place I was playing, and was able to produce at every team I was playing with. So it just so happened to bounce around a bit, which obviously isn't ideal, but sometimes you just do what you got to do to keep your career going.
Yeah, for sure. And you learn a lot from all these experiences too. Like what would you how was that year for you, especially when it came to like the grind of travel? You're being loaned out a lot. Like what are some of the things that you learned throughout that process?
Yeah, it's again, it's all stemming back to just being like a mental test, going to a new place, going to a new team, living in a new area, like playing with new guys, living with new guys, like just trying to stay and find that base which is within yourself. And when you go to a new team, you see where you fit, see what your role is, and see where you can fit in, and how you can help the team win. That's the end of the goal at the end of the night, pretty much.
Yeah, for sure. So you were playing the coast a lot, and then you get sent down to the SP to Pensacola during that time. So like, how hard was that for you to go down a level and then just obviously you're gonna work your butt off until you get back to the coast, but like what was that mindset like, especially like getting sent down?
Just going down with a positive attitude, knowing that you're going to hopefully get an opportunity to go back up. And just in the back of my mind, it's always the NHL, right? So I want to play in the NHL one day, and whatever level I'm at is the level I'm focusing on, and trying to move up from there. And just having that goal and that inner drive and that fire is something I tell myself every day. Like, I believe in myself, and I know I can play in the NHL. It's just a matter of getting an opportunity, being with the right team, being with the right fit. There's a lot of things that need to go right, but I'm not gonna think about that stuff too much. I'm just gonna worry about myself and my day to day.
Exactly. I love that mindset too, is especially since like a lot of people would be like down on themselves when they get sent down, but you looked at it at a positive way, and it helps yourself get better every day and just work your way up, moving the levels, moving on to the different ranks. And I really like that mindset.
Yeah.
So then you were down in Pensacola. So like how sick was it playing in Florida?
It was a pretty cool spot. I would never have guessed that hockey would have been there, but it was a great city, really passionate fan base. Like, you're obviously living in Florida, so the weather's really nice. And at the end of the day, you're just playing hockey like it's another spot. It's Florida, it's Winnipeg, it's wherever you're playing. Like, it's Wisconsin. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're just playing the game of hockey, and you're doing what your job is.
Exactly. So like going into this season a little bit here, like it's been the longest off season I'm pretty sure in the history of hockey. So like what what did you do to help yourself stay in shape, stay motivated, especially like waiting around a lot, especially since the season didn't start to like December, January, February, March this year?
Yeah, just staying physically and mentally ready, whenever the call comes. And if you try and work on, like I said earlier, just trying to get better at something every single day. I wake up every single day and ask myself, what am I going to get better at today? Is it going to be something on the ice? Is it going to be in the weight room? Is it going to be my body? Is it going to be my health? Is it going to be doing mobility? Is it going to be eating right? Is it going to be learning something new about food, or learning something new about sleep or my health, or just something along those lines? So I'm not just sitting around wasting days. I'm just trying to learn something new every single day that I can apply to my life as a person and as an athlete.
Yeah, that's great stuff right there. So because like especially during like the grind of the off season, like it's been like 8 months for a lot of people, and like you just got to stay in shape and do whatever you can do to be prepared for whenever you do get your chance. And you did get your chance to play this season in Pensacola. So like what was it like playing in Pensacola this year, especially during a time where there's not a lot of action going on, and a lot of guys don't have jobs.
Yeah, it was just a different experience, obviously, with all the COVID stuff going on and a lot more restrictions and lockdowns. And like you said, there's a lot of guys sitting around not playing because just a lot of the minor league teams opted out not to play. So hopefully we get that stuff all back to normal and things start to change in the world. But it's definitely been a weird year, like overall. But that's something that I'm not going to dwell on every single day. It's just something I'm going to look past and keep moving forward and just investing in myself and investing in my stock like every single day to become a better hockey player.
Yeah, exactly. I like that mindset what you just said there. So going into your draft year a little bit here, you were drafted to the Winnipeg Jets. Like, what was the draft experience like for you, and just being drafted by an NHL team in the Winnipeg Jets?
Yeah, it was awesome. I knew I had some NHL interest going into that year, and it was my third year of draft eligibility, so I got passed over in the first 2 years, and just had a good couple interviews with a bunch of different teams, and didn't really know what to expect or if who was going to pick me, or even if I was getting picked at all. So I did end up going to the draft in Philadelphia that year, and it was um, again just something that I would got to share with myself and with my family that came with me, and got to see all what goes on with the draft. And when my name got called, it was just a surreal like feeling just to see your name up on the board and see that an NHL team wanted you and drafted you to be a part of their organization. And I'm really glad I got to share that with my family. And it was just kind of a sum up to that point of all my hard work and the goals that I had for myself and all the sacrifices my parents and family made for me.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff right there, and just getting that opportunity to go to Philadelphia where the draft was, and being able to see your name and called in person live, like that must have been unreal. And like you said, so like, did you go to any of the like Winnipeg Jets development camps or anything like that before?
Yeah, I before the draft in my first or second year eligibility, I went to the Blackhawks development camp and got to experience that. That was kind of my first real taste of the NHL, if you want to call it. And after that, throughout the summers and the off season, I went to Winnipeg's development camp each year and just kind of really tried to pick something and learn from whatever. My time there was only a week each summer, but just kind of really got to show my development each year to the organization and how I was doing.
Yeah, so like, what were some of the things that you learned throughout that time, either with the Blackhawks or the Jets? Like, what, especially you're being surrounded by NHL caliber players, like what are they teaching you, and like what are you learning from them?
It's just kind of like all those little skills that kind of add up throughout the game of hockey. There's so many little things that go on that a normal person watching on TV just doesn't really understand, like how many little plays and how many little mindsets, like in system and structure, like that happen throughout the games. Like all that stuff really adds up. And then obviously when you get to pro, there's a lot on the line. So that's what they try to teach you when you're younger, all those little aspects of the game that kind of add up. And just being around the Winnipeg coaches and all the staff was just kind of a great first experience with my NHL development camps.
That's unreal, and it seems like you took a lot away from that experience, which is good, and just being able to apply that to your game now, and especially like when you first got to those development camps and first got out and like into the pros, like you're able to learn a lot and just apply it to your game. So
Yeah.
that must have been like really good for your development too, and just keep developing on the right path to hopefully get to the NHL one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a few more questions for you before we get this thing done with. So do you have any tips for hockey players looking to get to that next level?
Um, I would just say you can really separate yourself from other players and that's kind of just your goal, right? Whatever goal you have as a player, whether it's at any level, to make a team, to earn a college scholarship, to get drafted in the NHL, to do whatever your goals are or whatever aspirations you have. It's just you can really separate yourself from just really locking it in, like just having that mentality of, I'm going to get better every day at something, or I'm just going to work on it. Like if you really commit to it, like commit to being a hockey player, no matter what age you are. I know it's really hard to say that to some kid who's only 8 years old, right? But a lot of guys have it, and it's something that I just developed over time. Like, and then the work ethic and the mentality just kind of came with it. And if you commit, you put yourself so far ahead of so many players, not just in your region, but around the world too, because everybody's working, everybody sees the NHL on TV. It's the best league in the world. Like everybody wants a chance to play in it. So um, when I got like that opportunity, like to be drafted by Winnipeg, I knew it wasn't something small. Like that's a big foot in the door, that you get your opportunity, and just to be able to go to those development camps throughout the years, and then to play in like some preseason games for Winnipeg in my first official training camp. That was an awesome experience. Like just to have that first taste of the NHL, and now like I want it like so much more after getting that little bit of taste. Like I want to play in the NHL and be a player there.
Yeah, that's awesome there, and just like the commitment, like that you need to get to that next level and that elite level. Like it's a lot of work, but like if you commit to it, like you put your mind to it, like you can do anything you want. And just goes to like what you're doing like right now. Like you're still training during this tough time. You're working your way up to the NHL one day. So it's great to see, and it's great to that's an awesome tip.
Yeah.
So then my next question is, what's been your favorite city you visited so far in your career?
Um, I've obviously played in a lot of different places. I think they always ask me this question, and even though it wasn't for a full season, just kind of being with playing in Manitoba for the Moose, and being and living in Winnipeg, and then being there throughout those few weeks for development camps, and then being in Winnipeg for those first few months of the season for training camp and getting all that in. I think just the aspect for me, I'm such like a hockey nerd, and I love hockey. So just living in Canada, like all that comes with it, like the TSN, like the hockey attention in the media. Like I love all that stuff. So living in Winnipeg, it's just hockey all the time. Like you see the passion of the fan base. Like it's just hockey, hockey, hockey up in Canada, right? And it was the same thing living in Vancouver, playing in Langley. Like they love the Canucks there. So it was just hockey all the time, 24/7. And then like you get back to a place like America on ESPN, it's mostly just basketball, football, baseball, right? Hockey doesn't get like that attention. So that's the most favorite aspect I have of just like living in Canada, is just that the sport drives the country.
That's just awesome. That's definitely a place I want to be. It's 24/7 hockey, just
Yeah,
hockey, everything like that. That's sick.
yeah.
So then my next question for you is, what's your favorite pump up song? Like when you're trying to get a little lift in pregame warm up, like what are you listening to?
I'd say it's probably a close draw between, like I'm a big EDM music fan, not like the crazy like techno stuff, but I like all those kind of bands, and I like rock as well. That kind of gets me going and fired up too. I'd say like I'm a big Foo Fighters fan, so whenever one of their songs comes on, if I need to get that last set in the gym, or get those last reps in, it really fires me up and gets me going.
Oh yeah, it gets you over that last hump that you need to finish your workout.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I want to finish this thing off by some would you rather questions really quick. So
Okay.
would you rather be a genius and know everything, or be amazing at any activity that you do?
Um, hmm. I don't know. That's kind of a double-edged sword because you want to be a genius, but I think for me, being a genius, you'd want to share all that information with everybody else, and not everyone's going to want to hear what you have to say all the time because you know everything. So I think I'd definitely go with the other one and just be good at everything.
Yeah, I'd probably do the same because why wouldn't you want to be good at everything? So
Yeah,
yeah, so that's a funny one. Like my next one is, would you rather be able to eat your food 24/7, eat your favorite food 24/7, or drink your favorite drink 24/7?
definitely the food, especially with all the research and stuff I've done with food. Like I have such a bad sweet tooth, so I love like desserts. So I'm always like, for whatever reason, this quarantine, like off season, I got really into like cooking and baking as well. So I bake a lot of like healthy desserts so I can have them throughout the week. Because if you're burning a lot of calories on the ice and in the weight room, you gotta uh, recover and get your nutrition in those sense. So I make sure I'm always getting my healthy foods in and out of the way, but I always make sure I enjoy some dessert too.
Oh yeah, we love desserts. So gotta stay healthy though, but those desserts always hit different when you get to have those.
Yeah.
What's your favorite food?
Oh, that's tough. My favorite. If I had to say, like, if I wanted like a really good meal, it'd probably be like a nice steak and sweet potato with like some Brussels sprouts or other good vegetable. Or I love salmon too. So that'd be like a really good healthy meal for me. But I just, for whatever reason, I love like brownies, and I love like cookies and cheesecake too, which I don't have every single day, but I make sure like I treat myself um,
Oh yeah.
if I'm feeling good, or if I want it.
All right, now I'm starting to get hungry. Those sound delicious. So
Yeah,
that's so good. So Matt, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time. I want to wish you the best of luck going forward with hockey and training, and I'll see you soon.
yeah. Thanks for having me on, and um, thanks for coming out to our skates. Really appreciate putting in the work and you taking all of our shots. And some of them might be at your head, or um, might be trying to light you up every single day, but that's just I'm glad we met so far, and glad that we get to train together and help me keep in shape and help me become a better player. So
Oh
appreciate
yeah.
that. I'm always happy to come on.
Oh yeah. And I've had your number a few times, but you have my number most of the time.
Yeah, you were pretty hot last skate, so you were robbing all of us, which is pretty good. You're making yourself better, and you're making me better, challenging us. So we
Exactly. That's the goal, is get everyone better.